Welcome to another episode where I talk about the characters in my debut novel, The Head, the Heart, and the Air. This week we are going to be talking about King Emmerich. Now, you should all know that King Emmerich is the King of Dayton. He is also Prince Aaron, one of the POV characters' father, as well as Princess Alexandria, the other POV character's godfather. So here's a lovely picture of King Emmerich, the last portrait that was taken before Alex's mother died and she vanished. Now, let's get into Emmerich. So Emmerich was born in Dayton to his parents, and he is 46 at the beginning of book 1 when Alex returns home. Tragically, his mother died fairly young when he was a little boy, and then his father was killed in battle when he was 13 years old, thrusting him into kingship at a very young age. So most people assume that when Emmerich took the throne at 13 that he would be killed or assassinated quite quickly, but Emmerich had been trained very well in fighting and battle strategy, and so as soon as he took the throne, he immediately went into the bloodiest battle in Dayton history for the last century and made a very quick name for himself as being ruthless. And because of that, he assured himself on the throne as being safe. He also had the respect of the Rathner family, so Jerome's father was his general at the time, as well as King Arthur of Warren was very much on his side. So they all got together and they had very good battles and were incredibly intelligent. And one thing that Emmerich has always been very good at, similar to Aaron, is he has very good battle strategy planning. So even as a boy, he read a lot of the battle books in the library in Dayton and was able to comprehend why they failed versus why they did well. And so when he started strategizing and planning battles and that, he was incredibly successful in his battle planning, almost as if he could see what the best course of action would be and choose that plan. So because of this, he made a really good name for himself and people left him alone very quickly. He met Ginevra when he was in his late teens and they married very quickly, and so they had Daniel when Ginevra was, I think, 17 and Emmerich was 18. So he became a father very young because, having lost his father young, he had to make sure the line continued. Now, how does this compare to the Emmerich that we see in book 1? Well, the Emmerich in book 1 has quite the nasty temper, and he speaks down to a lot of people. Mainly, you have to think about the fact he became king at 13, so he has spent 3/4 of his life as king, telling people what to do, ordering people around. He doesn't ask, he tells. And he is not afraid to give orders to anyone, and he looks down on many people. He is quite pompous, and so because of that, he really only listens to Jerome, Edward, and Ginevra at all. Everyone else is beneath him, and he can't be bothered. Now, he also has a tendency to drink a lot, and if you really think about it, Emmerich that we meet in the book 1 is 12 years after having lost his son. So while Aaron lost his brother, Emmerich and Ginevra lost their oldest son. And because of this, as you can see, the old Emmerich from before Daniel died is very fit, he's very smart, he trains with the knights, he's always in battle. The Emmerich we meet is no longer fighting the Betrüger very much, he is overweight, he is angry, he has a temper, he drinks too much. So to me, the way he dealt with the grief and loss of his son is he found his relief at the bottom of a bottle. So he has become an alcoholic, he no longer does the things he was passionate about before because he's struggling with his own grief because he never got to grieve for his parents as a boy because he got thrust into being king. And so the reason, or one of the reasons, that he is so hard on Aaron all the time is that Daniel died defending Dayton, and because Emmerich became king so young, he does not believe Aaron has the skills necessary to actually be king and handle it the way that he did if he gets thrust into it. Daniel was very much a young version of Emmerich. They had the same mannerisms, the same temper, the same everything, whereas Aaron is very much his mother's son. And so while he adores Ginevra and loves Aaron because he is a version of his wife, Emmerich is very much aware that that personality trait will struggle to maintain the hold on the kingdom of Dayton. And because of that, he is very cautious with giving Aaron too much authority, too much power in that, because he knows Aaron's going to struggle with it. And so this is one of the problems with Aaron and Emmerich's relationship too, is that Emmerich, he just doesn't have the faith in Aaron that he should. We do get to see a lot more of Emmerich in future books. We get to watch him grow. We get to watch the way that he treats Alex versus how he treats Aaron, and how Edward and Alex's relationship influences the relationship that he has with Aaron, and more importantly, how Alex influences the relationship he has with Aaron. Emmerich is based on an actual person. He's one of the characters who is entirely based on somebody in real life, and Emmerich is based on my grandfather, Carl. So this is my father's father, who is a very old school, traditional German man. He passed away when I was pregnant with my second daughter, and he was always very serious. Like, the man was smaller than 5 feet. He was like 4'10", but he could intimidate an entire room just with his personality. And this is how I visualize Emmerich to be. He will own a room the second that he walks into it. He is fierce because he's had to be. And that was how my grandfather was as well. And he was very harsh to his sons, the same way my grandfather was very strict when in his upbringing of my father and my uncle. But with me, he was always very gentle because I was a girl and girls were allowed to be coddled and could be treated differently and with affection. So when Alex comes onto the scene, we get to see a different side of Emmerich because he's always had to be harsh on Aaron, especially after Daniel died and he knew Aaron was going to be king. Whereas with Alex, he can be that gentler side because she is a princess, and while she also fights him a lot more than Aaron does, and differently than Aaron does. And she fights him more like Daniel did, as in questioning him and being more vocal about it. And so I do enjoy watching the relationship with Emmerich and Aaron change as Alex comes into the situation and he sees how Edward and Alex are with each other and tries to influence that more in his relationship with Aaron. And so, yeah, it's going to be a very fun journey for Emmerich and Aaron. And so, yeah, I hope you learned something new about them, and I look forward to being able to tell you more about the adult characters in my book. And I hope you guys have a great day and happy reading.